Welcome to the Armchair Sports Guys, episode 6 here. Full fives again with Rich and Mike and Matt and Sean. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the NHL returning. Holy shit, one of the four gods of the kingdoms coming back. Finally, there's some plans to come back for the NHL. So I'm going to send it to Matt because Matt has a very interesting background. And I like him first. So, the rest of you guys can kiss my ass. Matt's going to start off. So, Matt, fire away.
Let's go, guys. Get him,
is going on? What is going on with the NHL?
First off, did anybody think when George's opening, when he went, he just shit his pants or something happened,
he definitely did
in his abdomen? Because I was like, wait, we're gonna have to start this shit over again.
Or he was bit by a spider in the big toe.
Yeah, he's like, and I'm like, whoa, who's over his house? Who's under that table? All right, so
that's why he has the virtual background.
That's right. No girls allowed at George's house.
Also a virtual foreground.
So kicking this off, the NHL leading the pack out of the four major sports, which I personally love. I know for you hockey fans out there, you personally love. NBA taking their time, Major League. That's a whole other book we need to open up. But the players want to play. The players want to play. They know everybody on both sides want to play. So Gary Bettman, whether you like him or not, he has his own kind of 4 phases of how he's going to open up the league. Rolling through this quickly, early June, expected that the teams will be permitted to return to home facilities for a small group, voluntary on and off. So informal, practicing, all that. Now, first half of July, not earlier than the first half of July, formal training camps. So you're going to have a training camp because this is a little different. This isn't like, I'm not dissing basketball at all or football at all, but guys that in the NBA can have their own court in the back, that they're still playing shape. Not every hockey player has an ice rink in the back, especially May 27th. So camps will begin first half of July. So this is where the playoff situation, this regular season for 2019 and 2020 have ended. Gary Bettman has decided that there are going to be 2 hub cities, one in the Western Conference and one in the Eastern Conference. I'll name the locations later, but this is how it's going to roll out. And then I'll shoot it over to, because I got Mike here, then I'll go to Rich, Sean. So we'll go 1, 2, 3 right there. But listen to how the playoff format is going to go. Then I'll kick it over to Mike. Round robin, the top 4 teams, so our beloved Bruins are in there. Top 4 teams, Bruins, Tampa Bay, Capitals, Flyers. They will play a round robin for the top seeding. Do you boys disagree or don't agree? How would you like that? Hold your comments. Qualifying round. This is the remaining 8 teams. Penguins, Hurricanes, Islanders, Leafs, Blue Jackets, Panthers, Rangers, and of course, your beloved Montreal Canadiens. That will be the qualifying round, best of 5, and it will have playoff overtime rules in effect. That's what it says, playoff overtime rules in effect. So the first and second round format, seeding versus bracket, series lengths to be determined. That hasn't agreed. I've also heard that the NHLPA, they want to make the qualifying round best of 7. They also want, or instead of best of 5 series, best of 7. I don't think the owners are going to have any problem with that. Conference finals and Stanley Cup finals, best of 7. Winners from the qualifying round play the top 4 seeds in the first round, individual first round series matchups. So you could have the Bruins playing their first game against the Flyers, Tampa Bay versus the Caps, and then go from there. And in the Western Conference, of course, it's the fucking St. Louis Blues. Good for them. They're still in first place. Colorado Avalanche, Vegas Knights. Listen to where these teams are, okay? St. Louis Blues, Colorado Avalanche, Vegas Golden Knights, Dallas Stars, Edmonton Oilers, Nashville Predators, Canucks, Flames, Jets, Wild, Coyotes, Blackhawks. Same rules apply on the West Coast. So let's kick it off with just the format, and then I'd like to regroup we'll kick it back to George, get his thoughts, and then regroup with the locations. Again, pay attention to what those cities that I just named. So, Mike, format. What am I looking at here? Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
the top seed.
The top seeds, and then the qualifying rounds. What are your thoughts? What's going on?
So the top seeds. I mean, of course, clearly, you know who I'm rooting for in the entire thing. I like the top seeds. I think they've earned
LA
it throughout
Clippers.
the season. The Washington Bullets of 75. It was. They definitely, I think the top seeds did earn their spot throughout the season. They busted their asses, especially the Bruins after what happened to them last year. Again, I'm favoriting Boston the entire time. The whole format of it, I think once it gets past this, there's two hub cities in the West and the East. They want to kind of split it up. Right now with those, this is just a format that they want to address to people. There's no definite that a place is going to be open. So they're trying to find a format and hopefully by end of June, end of July, that places are open with limited or without fans. There's also talks about, do we play up in Canada? You can't cross the border. Do we play here? So there's a few things that teams are going to go, okay, we like the format. We like what we're in. It gives us chances, but we won't be able to travel and plus give back to some of the fans. Now, given the teams that didn't make any of the playoffs, anything, any round robin, any qualifying of anything, I think there should be, if they're going to do all these things with the 5 games, the best series, they should give those the bottom teams, at least a one-off game. At least a one-off, okay, let's do a loser's bracket, and I use that in quotes, a loser's bracket. At least give the fans some, okay, we've gone through a lot of shit this past few months. Our season ended. A lot of the teams maybe could have made it in if they played straight out and got on a win streak. A lot of the teams like Detroit had no shot in hell. But give the fans, give something so they can at least end the season with, okay, we got one game, we gave the fans something to look at. See you next year, have a good one. But format, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'd have to wait next few weeks until more stuff gets added to it, hopefully. Maybe things will get changed. But I think for the top seed starting there, I like that. I like it gives them the shot to shine. They've earned it the whole season.
Okay. Rich?
I don't mind the format, surprisingly. I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to sports. I don't like when structures get tinkered with, but given what we have, I mean, outside of adding the extra teams, I mean, you kind of had to, if you're the Western Conference, all those bottom teams were kind of bunched together. It was one, the games in hand were almost negligible. It was like one game difference between a bunch of them. And so I guess extending it on the East only makes sense to keep it balanced. So hence you get the 10-point back Montreal, who is just god awful this year. But, I mean, the round robin, I mean, there's no home ice. I don't think it really matters. The only thing it'll do is screw with the matchups you have. Instead of being guaranteed a series against the last, low-seeded team, you might end up playing something like 4-5 instead of, 1-8. But, it's been such a big layoff that I don't think it's going to matter. It's almost like starting a new season. It's like having one of those international tournaments where they all show up together and battle it out. Except for this, it's for the Stanley Cup. So
And March 12th was the last day. I mean, you're talking March, April, May. We're past
these guys played.
So you're right. I mean, if you end your season, say you were the Stanley, like take the Bruins last year, first week of June, and then they're starting their training camp early September. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? So it does have that feel to it, and jumping right back into the playoffs is, and I like the round robin, but it really doesn't matter, like Rich just said. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, in regards to the format, I mean, I guess it's the best they can do, really. And the way that it works, I mean, you have so many big market teams that were at the bottom, like the Rangers and the Canadians and stuff like that. Like, the money that they're going to lose by not being able to play out the rest of the season or be in the playoffs, I think that's one of the factors that they took into consideration, like teams like I said, New York or Montreal, just because of the the importance of those teams to those cities, and it's not like a Carolina or something if they were at the bottom. I mean, that's obviously their team is getting better, but at the same time, they don't have the history or the fan base like New York or Montreal does. So I think that's kind of why they gave them a little bit. I mean, they kind of threw them a bone, is what it comes down to. But in terms of the round robin format for the top 4 teams, I mean, if they didn't do that, I mean, obviously they would have to wait. I mean, if you're going to play a 5-game series with all the other playoff teams to see who gets into the playoffs, you have to get the other 4 teams that are already in a chance to ramp up. I mean, it's been 11 weeks since they've played a game, and it's probably longer for a couple guys. But I mean, at the same time, you have to have some reason to play. So I don't mind. I mean, I don't like the fact the Bruins were obviously 10 points ahead of everybody else in the conference, and now they could potentially be a 4 seed. But at the same time, I mean, you have to give them some kind of initiative to get out there and play those 3 round robin games anyway. And I mean, it's not like you're at any disadvantage. I mean, there's no home ice, and you come out, play good hockey, and you're good. I mean, they could easily be the 1 seed. They could easily be the 4 seed. They lose all 3 games, then it is what it is. But I mean, you come out and play your best hockey. That's all that matters. Let your game do the talking. So I don't mind the format. I think that anything at this point is great because we've been deprived of so much, and especially there's nothing better than playoff hockey. So I mean, jumping right into playoffs is a no-brainer because it's already been almost 3 full months. So, and
I think Sean hit it.
It's going to be another probably, I don't know, 7 weeks or whatever until they start anyway. So by that time, I mean, there's no point in trying to finish a regular season because you're playing into next year at that point if you're going to do a full playoffs anyway. So, I mean, I think they're doing the best with what they can work with, and I mean, I just want to see hockey, so I'm good with it.
The Bettman boos, I think from now on have gotten a little bit quieter. That he's
put a plan together. What more do we want?
He's got something, but the best thing, and we can get back to it, but the best thing, before I forget this thought, because I hate Gary Bettman. I've vocal about it. I'm not a big fan of him. But
I'm still gonna boo his ass, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'll still boo him too, but I might not boo it as long as I usually would. But the best thing about this is that he's got the players and the teams behind him. So everybody's kind of, okay, let's just see what we can do.
And it's the only league that is like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. MLB can't even get out of their own way. NBA's trying to create something for both. The NFL is just acting like, yeah, we're going to keep playing. We have plans, but
right. And the other team is saying, like John Henry, we're going to lose money. It's like NHL saying, we just want to play.
Right.
It's like Olympic hockey. So you pick one fucking rink and you play in it. You pick one fucking spot and you play.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
I figured the NHL was going to be the last team. I figured they would just shut it down and call it a season because do the
gray area Stanley Cup champions would have been the Bruins.
And then they became out of nowhere to be the only team that may even play a season.
Right.
I mean, besides the NFL, because it seems like they're pretty dead set on playing no matter what. But
Matt, you're right. Sean, you hit it. I mean, and play a season and literally pick up where you would have left off anyways.
Right.
You're only missing a couple of weeks, essentially. And it sucks. The guys haven't really practiced or trained.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take a while. These guys haven't skated in so long. It's going
to Right.
That's why it's the ramp.
Too. It's basically like starting a new season anyway, because who knows who's going to look good or how they're going to play together. I mean, it's basically like we've had an entire offseason. This is the same amount of time that the Bruins spent between Stanley Cup and the beginning of the regular season anyway. Yep. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a good format just for the wild card factor because, I mean, you don't know. Like, it would be a good story to see a team that maybe wouldn't have gone in the playoffs make a run. But at the same time, obviously, we want the Bruins to do well. So you think from that standpoint, well, they were the 1 seed. Now, who knows? But just get them on the ice. That's all I care about. Get them on the ice.
Key takeaways. And I like what Sean said, like, just play. What more do you want? He likes the format. I think Sean makes a good point. Like, we haven't seen sports, and this could potentially be the first professional sports, not what we saw on Sunday, which was entertaining with Brady and Woods and Peyton and Mickelson, but let's just play. And then I can see people getting frustrated with the top 4 seeds, but then Rich brings in a point like, well, does it really matter if home ice advantage?
Yeah, there is no home ice anyway. So
you get last shift. That's it. That's all you
Yeah,
get. But the more important thing is the fans. George.
Okay, so I got to disagree with the last thing. Not the last thing. I agree. The fans are very important, right? And not necessarily, and playing without them, I think is just as important as playing with them. Because again, if you're a hockey fan, as much as I hate saying it, it's a niche sport, right? You either like hockey or you don't, right? You can casually be a baseball fan, you can casually be a football fan, but you either like hockey or you don't, right? So the fans want it. I would rather sit at home. I would rather do this. I'd rather sit at home on a Zoom call like this, where we're all watching the game and we're all getting like our reaction, like as we're watching the game. And I'd rather do that, right? Or have like one of those, watch, things. That would be fun as hell. Get a bunch of beers, get some nachos. We all have a good time together separately. That's great.
I'd rather be at the fucking thing.
Right. But if we can't be there,
I am here right now. I broke in.
Yeah, if we can't be there, then that's the best place to do it. And that's the thing is because hockey fans are nuts. So agree, the fans are important, but I think again, playing without them is just as important. The thing I disagree with is the second part of what you said, which had to do with Gary Bettman and having the everybody being behind him. I agree that he's behind him, and I agree he's done a great job. I did not expect that they'd be this connected from the NHL and the NHLPA to get this done. But that also, as much as I can't sing Gary Bettman, and I will give him the credit that he's done a good job, I also think that this could be something that they could use down the line as a tactic for like a labor agreement, which is what's going on. And obviously
we stuck with you, stick with us, sort of deal.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that it doesn't backfire. I'm hoping it doesn't, that they don't sit there and go, yeah, excellent. They're going to pay for the, we're going to take care of them now, but they're going to pay for it later. Right. Yeah. I don't want that. I want literally just, let's go. We're in this together and let's have hockey. Now, Mike, you said something earlier in regards to what the teams should do. So for all the teams that aren't playing, right, a fan appreciation night. I don't care if you're in the middle of the effing Sahara or if you're on the North Pole. You're effing professionals. You have fucking basically scientists.
I was going to say, you could swear, man.
You guys fucking basically scientists. No, I know.
Hold on.
I'm trying to find the right leg. I'm trying to find the right.
Mute that man's microphone.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You can say fuck, shit, bitch.
Yeah,
cock balls.
Just illustrating a point, Frank. You don't have to celebrate it.
But here's the thing: is I make some ice. You got scientists. Make the ice.
Scientists.
Have a shirt off your back night. Come skate with the team and the coaching staff, whatever. Free food. Open the concessions. I don't care what Aramark loses, or have the owners collectively pay for that day, but make it across the whole NHL.
Right.
Like every single NHL team, and when you're out of the playoffs, you have to do this. And I know it sucks. None of the players want to sit there and listen to, some guy like us, right? Go on the ice, dude. What the fuck, man? How come you guys couldn't be Nashville? Dude,
I don't sound like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's what I mean. Like, any of us jackasses that get on the ice to skate. But here's what you do. You charge like $10 and it goes to the COVID Foundation in the local area. So at least you cover 30, cities that, were devastated or have need for this relief. So I think you could do that. Skates, any of that. But with these teams and the way the format is, I'm sorry. I agree. You don't have to worry about getting the first seed, so to speak. But fuck yeah, you do. That last change is important in hockey in general, and it's more important in the playoffs because not only is it the last change for the long shifts and in the second period, but you have the chance to get the matchups you need and want to, which becomes so much more magnetized in the playoffs. So saying that not having home ice advantage isn't really a big deal because there's no fans. No, that last change makes it a big deal because when they put out their first line and you already have your third line out there, you can't either put your grinders or match your first line out because you don't have that last change, even though you were the Bruins, the number one team in the whole league, and you got to sit there and play second fiddle to a team because you lost in a jackass thing because they're taking and doing a round robin play-in type, figure out who's going where bullshit. Fuck that. Top 4, you seeded 1 through 4. The bigger bracket, break that down and who plays who and all that. Great. But the Bruins should get that because they earned it.
Well, that's also the talks too.
It.
That's been brought up about doing a bracket, and that's what I mean. So there's still some things that might change. That might say, okay, we've gone through the first week, everyone's on board. There still might be that like a March Madness type bracket.
And I'm also understanding that this is similar to what they do in like group play for soccer for like the World Cups and the UEFAs and things like that. So it's like you take 4 teams,
group play. I got excited.
Yeah, 4 teams, they each play each other. You know,
oh, balls.
So, and I get it. The Bruins, if I did anything correctly, and my math is a little off some of these days in my old age, if the Bruins win 1 game, they're automatically the number 1 seed, right? I think if I heard it correctly, and they did the math with they win 1 game. So granted, they have 3 tries to win 1. Okay, fine. This Bruins team's that good. They should be able to do that. Okay. But they should automatically be there. You busted. They were the fucking balls from Jump Street. Game 1, they've been on their fucking tits the whole time. And now you're going to tell us, well, guess what? Thanks, you guys did a hell of a good job. We're going to give you a president's medal and a trophy to put up on your fucking case. But guess what? You're the 4th seed. What?
And for that, so they played a total of 70 games. And I'll bring up another topic that Sean made, like what happens to the rest of the remaining teams that weren't going to make it, and how do they? And I get it, like big markets like New York. If we are at the 52 game mark when the season ended, okay, then it's going to be a different format. It's going to have to do something. They're going to have a 15 game regular season. Finish that. We're at 70 fucking games. Right. The Bruins were 44 wins and 14 losses. 14 losses.
Yeah.
You know what? You had 70 games to prove yourself in there. Sorry, Detroit. You were terrible. I'm not giving you anything, but you will fall into that lottery, and hopefully get a draft pick. But at the same time, like George brings up a good point. I was like, well, hey, we finished first in the league. Just give us the fucking cup. You know, that'd be great. Like nobody wants to argue that.
I don't want the cup.
No, but that was the thing that we were joking around.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But and the last change is important. Also, almost as important as the fans. But now you talk about location of this.
Yep.
The locations is ridiculous. Chicago, Columbus, Dallas. I said Dallas. Remember, Edmonton in it, Vegas in it. L.A. Why would you all fly out of L.A.? Minneapolis, Pittsburgh in it, Toronto in it,
not a whole lot of East Coast teams.
I only heard 2 cities most frequently, Columbus
Toronto,
and Vegas,
Pittsburgh.
as front runners. I didn't hear
Edmonton.
cities.
So it's
If
like,
you're going to do that, why not just play home games?
and why is there L.A.? Why L.A.?
Yeah,
Like we're gonna have to fly over there? Like we're gonna that?
And they're out of the whole thing.
Right.
They're out of the whole. They're not even it.
So yeah.
But to use ice,
it's
I guess.
dollar. It's TV dollar.
Yeah. To use ice.
TV dollar. Second biggest market in the U.S.
And
Doesn't matter.
The state of California doesn't even have a team in this.
So how about this?
And
Who do
LA
you
are both out.
want out of the East for your rink, your designated rink? St. Paul, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Toronto, or
I'll take Toronto.
yeah, that's it.
So I would say
That's it.
In knowing that Canada.
Yeah, I don't think you can go to
because
Canada anyway.
because Canada's not going to open their borders, right?
Right.
But I think if you got collectively and said, okay, here's what we're going to do: Toronto on the east, Edmonton on the west. All the players come over. They quarantine. They take a hotel from top to bottom. Because I mean, generally speaking, all the players get along. I think. And testosterone will be a lot less if there's no games and no practices. They're playing like cribbage or, Rummy 500 or some shit for 14 days. They can chill out for 14 days, work out, do whatever. Right. Fortnite, boom, done. Literally Fortnite, exactly.
You're talking about old guy card games.
Yeah.
These dudes play video games and shit.
Fucking cribbage.
Dude.
Then he mentions Fortnite. He goes from 1812 to 2020.
Well, no, you said
in
Fortnite,
one sentence.
And Fortnite is actually 14 days.
I remember
so
Domino's, Pepperidge Farm.
Exactly. Pepperidge Farm. I don't remember, but Pepperidge Farm does. But nonetheless, you could do that, and then now you have within Canada, you can now split the teams up and say, okay, the West Coast is going to go there, and the East Coast goes there. Or maybe you set it up with the teams there already, and you find 2 hotels. You just make it so it's in Canada, so that you know it's cold. You know the ice is going to be good, not melting if it's in effing Dallas in the middle of July. Fuck that. And you're also going to guarantee that you're going to have fans watching. No offense to the U.S. fans. Canadian fans are going to watch, this all the time. You know they're going to have it, and it's going to be so much better if you put it in Toronto and Edmonton. In Canada, you're good. You can travel about the country. You're fine. Easy.
I mean, and there's so much to go over with this. I mean, it's not just the playoff standard. I'm going to get opinions, but boil it right down to this whole virus quarantine thing. Right now, the Canadian border is closed. No one's in, no one's out. So, if we're gonna,
sorry, Mike, there we go. Let's try this again. Go ahead, keep going.
You son of a.
Keep going, sir.
I'm back. Yeah. You can't get rid of me that easy.
So go ahead, continue.
Back, motherfucker. So like I said, you have the Canadian border shut down essentially. No one in, no one out. So I think that's why Bettman is doing it, giving it at least a solid month and a half, 2 months to say, is something going to change? Is something going to happen? If other states open up, then now Marty Walsh said he wants to open the Garden up with no fans. So there is a chance come at this time when it really starts to prevail that there might be a spot that teams could possibly play. It all depends on how this thing plays out and how it rolls. I just think that, I mean, having the Canadian border closed and having a spot or 2 up there, which are pretty major spots to play in, and having huge teams and a huge market up there, I mean, if they let them up, there's going to be some backlash saying, well, why can't we just open? But that gets into the whole, opinions of things. But I just think they're waiting it out to see if more states open up, because there's options. At least there's an option. Again, goes back to what we first talked about. At least there's something that's being done.
But home ice advantage is in favor of the Western Conference.
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
100%. Yeah.
Edmonton could make a run, and they were in the middle of the pack.
Right.
Now, New York and Boston, due to COVID, are out. All the southern states besides Dallas, I guess, is out. No, I mean, the Panthers are in it. Tampa Bay's in it. You're not going to have 100. George is right as far as the surface of the ice. So, yeah, if the Canadian border opens up, not a bad idea with Toronto and Edmonton. But at the same time, it's like, why do we have 8 or 9 or however many of these locations for Western Conference? I think that's a huge advantage.
And one with no team in it. Through Anaheim, San Jose, and LA are out.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, they're out. I mean, it's. I don't know.
And Chicago's in there. They were the last ones to squeak in at an awesome winning percentage of .514. But
Buffalo was right behind them.
That's right. And this will, George, just to ruffle your feathers, the last remaining 12 games, they had Buffalo, the Ducks, the Kings, the Sharks, the Red Wings, the Senators. The only tough ones were probably the Blues, maybe Carolina. I was just like, oh, I can't wait to get George with that one. They probably, honestly, George, they probably would have won 60 games.
They were on course to demolishing.
What?
Easily.
The Canadians?
No. I mean, they probably would have gone technically 58-14 with the remaining games left. They just had a junk of a schedule. One more West Coast trip, and then home for 4, down to St. Louis, of course, for the 81st game, and then
they're in the playoffs now. And then
they're sitting pretty. They are fucking sitting pretty.
Well, as I look at my phone, I just go over some of the matchups because again, we at least know what the matchups are, right? Minus
this were to get signed,
right.
yeah.
If this will go through tonight to tomorrow, there's a matchup.
Correct. So generally speaking, the matchups would be, and again, we'll start with the number 5 matchup because 1 through 4 are going to play that group stage to find out who goes where. So number 5, Edmonton would be home against Chicago, and these are all best of 5 series, correct?
Yes, the qualifying round is best of 5.
Yep. So you've got Edmonton would go again against Chicago. Chicago would be at Edmonton. The Coyotes would travel to Nashville. Minnesota would travel to Vancouver, and then Winnipeg would travel to Calgary, and that is all in the West. In the East,
I think they're just having one destination.
Yeah. It's just gonna be
There's
one
only
hub.
there's
There's
it's
gonna be
coming.
one place for the East and one place for the
That's
West.
it.
and that's
You're right
it.
now,
Yeah,
It starts
right,
out right now.
No, I was
There's
just right. No,
one
no.
in one
Oh,
spot.
right. I'm saying is in like the home team or the like.
Oh,
So the 5C would be considered the home team.
I got
So
you. Yeah,
yes, correct. For those listening at home and my confused co-host here, I'm speaking in the sense of who would be home, who would be away.
What's the point, Ventura?
Exactly.
Pink
So-
Lizine horn.
In this instance,
Sorry.
and I'm just going to
Stupid.
read this one thing because literally this makes me want to just punch myself in the dick with a meat
You won't.
tenderizer. I
You
won't
won't.
because I don't have a
Hope you
meat
got good
tenderizer.
aim.
I don't.
Or a dick.
I don't have a meat tenderizer handy. The rest of it we're going to leave for debate. But this Eastern Conference playoff bullshit, this sucks. The number 5 Penguins versus the number 12 Canadians. And again, if this were to stand, the winner could face the Flyers. Can you just have the whole world and can we just turn the whole ice rink into a basketball court and say, fucking you guys are out? Because I hate that. I hate everything about all of that matchup right there. The Rangers would be going to, but Hurricanes would be home in that series. The Islanders would be home against the Panthers, and then the Maple Leafs would be home against the Blue Jackets, the 8-9 matchup. So
Where does Mystery Alaska play? Where are they playing?
right? Yeah, where's Tree
Well,
going?
wait. What if the Canadians win? They beat Pens. Now if take the top 4, Bruins, Lightning, Caps, Flyers, you're gonna have one versus the last seed.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
The Canadians are always dangerous. We were on the text
Montreal's
like,
looking. Montreal's
First thing I
liking this.
checked.
You're right.
yeah. The first thing I saw was Montreal, and I go, watch this. They're gonna make
Yeah.
a fucking
Oh.
run.
Yeah.
If you're one of those
Carey
bottom
Price
seeds,
is gonna stand on his head.
if you're one of those bottom seeds that think about it, after 70 games, probably thought, well, we're not making the fucking playoffs this year. What are we gonna do? Whatever.
Yeah, let's
And
start
then
drinking.
you go on an 11-week hiatus and then find out that you're back in the playoffs.
It was one of these.
If I'm on one of those teams, man, I'm
Well,
like,
what?
dude, guys, what? We were just given the biggest gift we could have ever gotten.
Yeah.
Why not go
And we've
balls
been
to the
boozing
wall?
for 12 weeks.
Sober up, boys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back on keto.
That keto and Coke diet. Sober
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
I wouldn't be honestly though. I wouldn't
Oh,
be
don't get rid of
surprised
the
if one of
cocaine,
those
come
if one of those low teams made a deep run just because they were given another gift of another chance to be
Knowing that the Canadians are the 12th seed, the lowest seed you could possibly be, and pretty much the lowest seed and team in the whole fucking tournament. Man, does it I'm
If we play
you know
them
what I mean?
first
Like,
round,
just
yeah.
like,
If we play them first round, I'm gonna shit a brick.
If we
Imagine
play them
Bruins.
first round and we lose against Montreal for whatever reason, and we lose, and this comes out that we're out and the Canadians are in, Boston will burn to the ground. Starting with my house, I will stone cold Steve
I will
Austin,
burn
stunner my
own house
mother.
down.
Well, that's one way to get rid of COVID.
I will.
We're out.
What?
Meg.
I will stone cold my entire neighborhood one by one.
So I'm so glad that this is being recorded and going to get put out so that if and when this happens, we have it on tape proof. Do it. So
I love my neighborhood.
I think in general, obviously, we don't know the times and we don't know the places yet. I think in general, we're all in agreement that the format is pretty legit. There's some minor
It's fine.
things and tweaks, but for
It's-
the most part,
it's
I
not
think
bad.
it does the best service for all the teams involved and to try and recoup some revenue for these teams in any sort of capacity, not just the teams in the playoffs, but the teams that are out of it and the NHL as a whole. So with that being said, do you guys have anything that you would say, knowing now what you have seen so far, is there one thing you would add or tweak or change to it that could give it the cool factor or the wow,
I
And
think.
Matt, I'll start with you.
Sorry, I keep
No.
fumbling over my words. 70 games. That's almost do the math. 82 games, divide that by 70. What's the percentage on that? 90? 88?
One.
Yeah.
Carry the
Carry the 3.
carry the 3.
Yeah,
2.
yeah.
About 88.
4, niner.
Pie. 3-point. Is there a niner in
Did I
there?
catch a niner in there?
Lucky Tucky.
Sorry,
That's what,
I don't know.
80,
Yeah.
call it
it's about
85.
88%. Yeah.
88%. No. Top 8 teams per each conference. And then you have that's it. I don't care. Go to that format. This format, although it could be exciting because you could see teams like giving them a shot, there was 12 games left or 13 games left here. Okay, great. It's good for, it's good for teams like Arizona Coyotes who haven't seen the playoffs, Montreal Canadiens who haven't been in the playoffs a while. Okay, I get it. But at the same time, what were the percentage of those motherfuckers actually making it?
It's just more product for the league. That's all it is.
And
Matt,
That's all it comes down to is more
I think
product
it's
and more
bullshit.
money. Yeah.
Top 8 per Western Conference, you played 70. That's enough.
Matt, can you just repeat one thing you just said about the Canadians? Canadians back in the playoffs, first time in a long time. I just want you
true.
I want to let that marinate there for a minute there for all
They're probably
you
going to win the fucking
Canadian
cup.
fans. Yeah, no shit, right? Yeah,
Don't you dare.
No shit, right?
But it's true. 70 games. 65, 60.
Sean's
Okay.
demolishing his house to that statement.
So what if it was
That's because I'm
4
sitting at a
games?
round table and the thing screws from the bottom and it's not hanging.
I'll tell you something that's also not hanging. But what
The
if it was
Montreal
75?
Canadiens. Not with-
What if it was 75 games that they finished in the league?
Yeah.
Really? We're really going to do this with 7 games left in the season?
Yeah.
No, but because there was 5 games left, there's now 12 to 13 games. Now we have to allow all these other teams in, and the New York Rangers Blackhawks could make a run and win the cup. Oh, that's so much fun. No, it's not. You didn't really fucking earn it. You sucked balls.
Yeah. You snuck in.
So I think it's exciting. Yes. What am I complaining about? That's the only thing. I want hockey back, and I'm glad the NHL's leading the charge. That's my final wrap up.
I'm with you as well. Rich, your thoughts on what final thing you might be able to think of that you can add like a cool factor or a new thing? What are your thoughts on that?
They don't need to add a cool factor. I'm not a big fan of tinkering around with what works. All they need is to have some competitive games. Once someone slams somebody up against the boards, fans or no fans, everyone's going to be excited that hockey's back.
So, pop it. That's a huge point.
All right, Mike, for yourself, talk to me, Goose. What do you got? Anything you would do to change any of the things that have popped up, or something that you were like, oh, this would be great?
I think across the board, I'm with you guys, especially Maddie. You made a good point. These top seeded teams throughout the season groveled and killed it to have a number 1 seed again. Take the Bruins, just favoring that team because they are my favorite team. But take the Bruins against Montreal. So you're gonna, like Maddie said, you're gonna have a team. I'm just reiterating what he's saying because it's a huge point. No one's gonna be happy because if the Bruins play and they lose and they're out, we're gonna say, well, that's not fair. But if a team like Montreal gets in and plays another team, well, that's not fair. So it's going to be boo-hooing any side, but to sidetrack to Rich's point, as soon as that fucking first glass is popped, it's going to be like, okay, I don't care who the fuck is in. I want to watch some games. Just drop the puck.
Sean.
Boy.
I'm with you. Sean, your thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't really think they need to change anything. I mean, if I was going to change one thing, it would just be keep the top 4 seeds, let them play 4 exhibition games. Why you got to reseed that? And also, I heard that they might reseed after the first tournament or whatever. I don't know how that's all going to
9
work.
through 12, the goalie has to dress like this. Gary Price has to dress like this.
Make them play without face masks. I don't know. No, I don't think I would change it. I mean, I'm just happy that they're making strides and at least trying to deliver on the end of a season that we would cut short. I mean,
is that Ken Drudd?
As long as they do something, I don't really care.
It's George.
I just want to play.
You know what? Damn near could be. I will tell you guys are missing the one thing that would be freaking perfect for this.
Meat tenderizer.
Is using the similar thought process that they had for the golf and mic up everybody.
Wow.
I want to hear.
You're going to get more sound effects from fans.
The guy The guy that has to press the dump button, his arm will fall off by the end of the first period.
No, you're missing the whole point. No dump button, none of that. I want 7 billion fucking mics around the glass on the rink. I want somebody to go bam, face first into the glass, and you hear it, and then hear, oh shit, that hurt, or you motherfucker. I want to hear that. I want that. I get it. FCC and all that good stuff. Fine, great. Fine.
PETA maybe not make fun of the network.
You know what? Don't just take a full time. Take a full time out, not just a 20. Take a full time out. Sit this one down, FCC. Let us have our sports back the way we want them.
Yeah,
I want to hear what you're not
I'm not
interested in Chara calling somebody a cunt and then he's gonna fuck his wife.
Let's go.
Look what happened with the Super Bowl.
Baby.
Look what happened with J-Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl. And all they did was dance and sing.
Yeah,
you think you get the NHL players out there yelling fuck shit?
Bro, no. Stuff? Here's what I want.
George wants a camera in the showers.
No. I want to hear what these guys are saying. You're not gonna have any crowds there. I want no fake noise. I want none of that stuff. I want the organ guy playing stuff. If he can go dun dun dun, fine. You want to do that stuff, whatever. But I want noise. I want to hear what the players are saying. I want to hear the chirps. I want to hear what they, the yo mama jokes. I want all of that stuff because that's what I need as a fan. If you're
going to the California Penal League here,
exactly.
George.
If the coronavirus is taking away sports, then the FCC can calm down for about 20 seconds. Let us have this organically, and then go back and say, "Listen, boys, no more language or minimal," because stuff gets through, and they try to dump it, but they don't because they want to get the broadcast of the actual broadcasters calling the games. Fine, just give me language. Give me, and it's not about the swearing. I don't care. I want to just hear what they're saying. You mean to tell me you don't want to hear Brad Marchand?
You probably will hear a little bit of it.
Probably will. That's the thing.
You're going to be able to hear a lot more than you did before anyway.
But you know what, though? And again, like you said, because the FCC is going to be dump button happy, I bet you the whole broadcast is this.
No, you're going to have guys calling.
You know what I mean? I hope so. You're
going to have Doc Emmerich pass out by the second round because he's broadcasted 28 games in fucking 8 days.
He's doing 3 a day.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the one thing. That's the one thing we haven't really.
I don't know how much more I can do.
Of it. Can we just say, and I of all the broadcasting guys,
we're back in the NHL playoffs. Again,
and I know, and because Sean, I know you've done games. Matt, you and I have done play-by-play for hockey games. There's no way near you could do that good and that smooth that he does. That guy is going to age 17 years in the 4 weeks. He's going to be
probably going to retire.
Well, here's the thing for the first round.
Song. I'll call
but if there's anybody to do it, but if there's anybody who's going to do it. He's him and a Vin Scully from Major League Baseball. There are certain guys that could literally have the stamina, the balls, the integrity, the chops, the pipes, all of it.
Say Ghosh too. Yeah.
Ghosh should be able to do it too. But but on that bigger national level, I can't wait. And that's the thing is I can't wait to listen to these broadcasters again.
Yeah,
I think they're going to pull out. That's a whole other topic. But I think they're going to pull out a lot of these broadcasters from different markets and revenues and say. Jack Edwards, guess what? You're you're going to LA to do whatever.
Right.
So here's another question. Do they bring in more people into the broadcast?
I think they're going to do a remote
between the glass plus 2 or behind. You could have a guy behind the
radio,
net.
Yeah, or not just behind the net, but
that's the other thing. Limit to 50. That was the other participants are limited to 50, if I can recall.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know if that's 50 per team or 50 total per team. Right. So that's 50 personnel in the hub city with only a small number of support staff permitted to enter the event arenas.
Right.
Yep.
So you got to pick and choose. And whoever you bring in Jack Edwards or the radio. I can't believe I can't remember the radio guy's name.
Bob Beers and Dave Goshen.
Bob Beers.
No, Bob Beers and
Judd Surratt.
Yeah. They have to quarantine so there's a protocol there, 14 days, and then hey, Judd, by the way, we need you for other games too. I could definitely see that happening.
You take the top. I don't want to say top 6
Yeah,
or
you
8
go down the
broadcasts.
list. You go
Yeah,
down the
take the top
list.
6
Call
or
'em,
8 broadcasts of the
Right.
yeah.
and then say, hey, would you want to do this? Blah blah blah. And then
Yeah, we're
let
gonna
me
need
check
you
with
for
my wife.
3 weeks, and
No.
right.
Shit, can't.
Yep,
Poor
yep.
Doc Emmerich's like what?
Yeah.
Fucking 1,000 years old. So
Yeah.
In quarantine one goddamn day.
and then Eddie Olczyk, I
Taking
know
the
he's
red eye.
been,
Yeah.
you know,
Eddie Olczyk probably would have to be doing it from his house, like intermission stuff from his house.
So little
Yeah.
things like that, like you can think of, but they will definitely go down the list. NBC, I hope, will get the rights, I assume. And another topic that was brought up, there's no Olympics coming up where
Right.
NBC was geared up for that. So they're dying. They get
And-
the NHL contract. They're dying for this.
And wasn't there a point of contention as well? I know this is what the Summer Olympics, right?
Correct.
Not the winter. But isn't there the point of contention with the hockey players about going to the Olympics, right? It's a big honor to play for Team Canada, the Czech Republic. I mean, not that it's not an honor to play here in the US, but it's more of an honor across the pond and north to play on those Olympic hockey
For the
teams than
amateurs.
it is for here. Right.
For
But
the
even for the
amateurs.
pros and stuff that play.
Right.
So it makes me wonder, is this going to affect Olympic stuff down the road with these guys? Because, again, you're going to have – because it's, 2 years from now, realistically, right?
Yeah, but I
'Cause
believe Gary Bettman said the NHL players
the
can't participate already.
Right. And the NHL players have said, screw you, we're going to go anyway. And this is going to screw that whole process up because
Yeah,
you got
that's
to
gonna be
figure,
a
right?
big
We're starting, let's say, July 1st. Let's call July 1st the day they start playing. You're going to have probably, 8 to 12 weeks of hockey, maybe more, right?
Mhm.
So now you're bringing that into like October, November. So let's say your New Year's Day, they do a nationwide NHL thing where they have 16 open ice games, 15 open ice games, right? And everybody's playing that, open ice on January 1st, right? In the Stadium Series, right?
Winter
Just
Classic.
to open it up. Yeah, the Winter Classic. Thank you. So they open, the Winter, but the Stadium Series is, but anyway. So they do that. And then they play another season. That's still another 82-game season. They're going to have to power through that quickly. Now you've got the next year, which is going to be full, starting up normal. That's going to kick into the Olympics.
You're
These
getting a
guys
little
can
bit
be
ahead of
playing.
yourself there,
Right,
Bucko.
but the thing is, these guys
They just had 12 fucking weeks off. They just got their
Agreed.
break. I don't give
They're
a
gonna have-
shit.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, let's
perfect.
get this
So for the
playoff
next-
run
I don't give
over
a shit
with
if the
before we start
season
talking
ends
about
on
the Olympics.
Halloween and then
Hold on.
2021.
You're a year and a half in the future now.
No, hold on. You're talking, these guys can play 26 to 30 straight months of hockey in a row.
They won't.
So, yeah, that
Mm.
could really affect how their
They won't do
bodies
that.
are and how the hockey is going to be down the road. So, as much as this is good, I almost think it's too much having way too many teams in here and not giving these guys that go to the finals a chance to get ramped in, because it's going to be like, I don't want to say it's going to be like a strike shortened season, but if they're going to cram 82 games into next year, you're going to win the cup, have this championship trophy celebration, and the second you get off the fucking duck boats, you hand the Stanley to the guy with the white gloves, and you go to the practice rink for the brand new start of the new year with the tryouts. I mean, that's really what you're looking at.
Bettman
So
has
it's going
come
to be
out.
crazy.
A
Like,
lot of the executives come out and said they want they're idealizing. They're looking at the time frame, and this is just it's talks. There's nothing set
right.
of end of October into November to start the next season.
Yeah,
And that's with if everything in this playoff format goes quickly and goes one after another. It's gonna be Sunday to fucking Sunday of hockey every day.
Yeah.
So
It's
can't wait.
It's good. I like
About time.
it. All right.
Yep.
Anything else, boys? I think that is about it then. Well, then, on behalf of Rich, Matt, Mike, and Shauna and GJ saying thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. The next episode, we are going to talk about the shit show, as well as the NHL was run, and as well as the Players Association with the owners got together, hammered this out smooth, clean, whistle-like. Talk about a fucking nuclear disaster the Major League Baseball is. We're going to cover that on the
Talk
next
about a
episode here
pandemic.
of the Armchair. Yeah, exactly. This thing,
COVID-20.
this thing is a shit show, and I'm going to give you a sneak preview. I'm a huge baseball fan, and Rich and I were talking the other day. I have been a baseball fan and a bigger baseball fan than any other sport in my whole life. I've always said baseball is my wife. Every other sport's my mistress.
Yeah.
I want to kill my wife. I want to bury her ass in the fucking backyard.
Mary kill.
And go run away with all my other mistresses because baseball, you're dead to me. And we're going to talk about that next.
It's fun to pretend, huh?
And we're going to talk about that next on
Drop
the Armchair
the puck.
Sports
Go
Cast.
Bruins!
Let's go, boys. We'll see you. Thanks again for joining us. Be safe. Check us out. Armchair Sports Guys Facebook, Armchair Sports Guys on Instagram, Armchair_Guys on Twitter, the Armchair Sports Guys at Gmail if you got some topics, or hit her up on the Messenger, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, and Anchor. I'm getting better at this, man. My brain's working.
We're everywhere.
So follow us. We're everywhere.
It's a new world order.
And we got stickers coming to you live. We'll take a look, boys. Have a good one. Peace.